So good morning and welcome to today's session. So last class we have started with what OOPS concepts are and what are the various programming paradigms that also we have seen. What are the advantages and disadvantages in various programming paradigms also we have seen. So among your programming paradigms. So in that you had procedural paradigm, its limitations, what were the limitations in detail we have seen. Then we went on to see what is meant by object-oriented programming, that is OOPS concept. So what it is also we have seen, what an object is. So what are the things that are associated with the objects, its properties and its behaviors. So using OOP implementation, so how is it being implemented? So when you are implementing your OOPS concept, you are going to introduce a new data type known as your class, which is similar to structure. Only thing is you have extra modifications from your structure. That is, you can give some access specifications for your member data and your member variables. So these are the things that we have seen last class. So till this program we have seen in the last class what a class is, what are the various access specifiers are, that is your public, private and protected, how they act upon the data, what it means. All these we have seen with this example also. Okay. So apart from that, the next thing that we are going to see is various concepts that will be embedded in your OOPS. Under various concepts only, you will be writing your program itself. That is, generally, if you just take an OOP alone is not sufficient. How that OOP is going to be implemented, that is what we are going to see. So you have to give some amount of protection for your data and for your functions. So how we are going to protect your data, how we are going to make the functions work or enable the functions to work and all only you are going to see in this. So there are different OOP concepts. Under OOP itself, you have so many concepts to be learned, important concepts to be learned. So one among them is known as your data abstraction. One among them is known as your data abstraction. So data abstraction means showing only essential features of the applications and hiding the details from outside world. Showing only essential features of the applications and hiding the details from the outside world. That is, generally you see, you are going to do some work. What is the action that is being performed behind the scene is not known to the world. You are hiding it from the world. So some simple examples I have quoted over here. You just look into it. So example of working of TV remote. So if you just press the buttons on the remote, the channel gets changed. Yes or no? You're just having your remote in your hands. You're pressing the buttons either for channel change or to increase or decrease your volume, just to power or to power on and off, etc. So many functions are there in the remote. You're just only pressing the buttons. So when you press the buttons on the remote, some action is performed on the TV, that is onto the interface. So behind that remote, what is that action performed? How is that action being performed? All these are hidden from the outside world. Okay, all these are hidden from the outside world. Similarly, switches, any switchboard you see, you have the wire connection, all these. But if you just go and switch on the switch, immediately your light is kept on. If you just go and off it, put it in the off mode, your light gets off. But how that electricity is passed, how the current is passed, all these you are not at all worried about, or all these things are not seen to us, all these things are not visible to us. We don't see all these things. Okay, so like this, you are just hiding the data underneath. Seeing only the essential things are known as your data abstraction. Seeing only the essential features of the application is known as your data abstraction. So one of the main advantage is helps to manipulate objects without knowing the implementation. Your work is being done, that is, you're doing some work, but behind the scene, how that work is done, behind the scene, how that work is done and all is not known to you. You are not, for you, it is not necessary to know how that work is done. For you, that work has to be done. Only that you are very much concerned about. Okay. Only about that you are concerned about, not knowing about how that work is being done. Is it clear? Next, it separates interface and implementation. It separates interface and implementation means, see, when you hold your remote in your hand, you will be at a minimum distance of 5 to 6 feet, right? You will be at a minimum distance of 5 to 6 feet from the television. So separates interface and implementation means, you know that the TV is placed at least a minimum distance of 6 feet and you're holding the remote little away from that. So what happens is there is a gap between the remote and the TV. So what happens is just at the press of the button, something is happening behind your remote, and so what happens? The work is being done. So that implementation part and all you are not at all seeing. Okay, that is what is meant by your data abstraction. Implementation means over here when we go on to look upon to the programming side, when we look upon to the programming side, how variables are declared, program is coded. Okay, how variable is declared. Here how variable is declared over here means, that is the access specifiers, whether you have declared it under public, private or protected. Public, private or protected. Where, in which, what type of access have you given for your variables and how the program is coded. That is, program coding as such, there is no change in the program coding, that is C++ programming, whatever you have learned, the same way only you are going to write. There is no change in that methodology and all. But when you are using your variables under various access specifiers, they must be used in the proper classes. They must be used along with the proper classes. അതായത് private ആണെങ്കിൽ I have told you it is accessible only for that particular class alone. Public means it is accessible to all the classes in your program. Protected means only for the derived classes, only for the derived classes. So when you are declaring the variables, what is the access specifier that you have given? According to that access specifier only you can go on to write the coding. Okay, അല്ലാതെ public ആയിട്ട് variable declare ചെയ്തിട്ട് അതിനെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി protected പാർട്ടിൽ കൊണ്ടുപോയി എഴുതി അതിനെ mismatch ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ല. Is it clear? Next, interface. How communication is sent to object. How communication, that is from the object, how with the help of that object, how we are going to access these variables. So if it is a public variable or a protected variable, along with that, you are going to do it with the help of the object only. So how we are going to use, even there, those variables declared under your particular access specifiers could be used only within that class. So your variable declaration is very important over here. Based on that only your program will be written, and the object which is used to communicate, the object which is used to communicate could be used only according to the access specifiers for those four variables. Okay, ഏതേത് ക്ലാസ്സിൽ ഏതൊക്കെ വേരിയബിൾസ് വേണോ എല്ലാ വേരിയബിൾസും യൂസ് ചെയ്യാം. But based on the access specifiers only you can use it. Is it clear? Not too much detail you are studying, but you have to learn all these. Okay, so advantages. Class internals are protected from accidental user level errors which might corrupt the state of the object. അതായത് ഒരു example if I tell you. Okay, class internals ഇങ്ങനെ high concepts ലൊന്നും നിങ്ങൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കണ്ട. Just understand the example that I am giving you. You have one organization. Okay, you have sales department, purchase department, production department, inventory department. Like this you have a HR department. Like this you have wide number of departments. So for example, okay, some materials are to be gone for production. So if it is gone, if that material has to be gone for production, means so the production department, what they will do is they will go on to ask the inventory purchase department, is the stocks are available. Purchase department, they'll ask, is the stocks are available. Only if the stock is available through the purchase department, they will be able to collect all the raw materials and take it for production. When they are coming, that is purchase production department, when they approach the purchase department, what they will do is they are asking only for the quantity of the products. They are asking only for the quantity of the products, not about who is the, from whom did they buy, when did they buy, what was the cost, what was the reduction they got. All these details are hidden from them. Okay, so the purchase people, that is the production people, will get only the quantity of the products. For them, these details like your purchase date, vendor details, then amount paid, what was the mode of amount paid, all these details are hidden from them. They are not given any access to for these kind of details. So what happens is, that is what I'm telling you, accidental user level errors. So when the purchase production people ask, they'll give only the stock details. These details are hidden from them. So when they are not accessing these kind of details like your vendor details, so what happens over here is your user accidental level of errors can be minimized. Okay, accidental user level of errors can be minimized. With that is so that the datas are not getting corrupted, so that the datas are not getting corrupted. Only the required amount of datas are being given to whoever it is being asked. Okay, so like this, what happens is when we go into class internals എന്നുള്ള കോൺസെപ്റ്റിലേക്ക് വരികയാണെങ്കിൽ, okay, so when we give the declare the variables under particular access specifiers, under particular access specifiers, so those datas are used only based on those prior access. Okay, those data could be used only on those prior access. അല്ലാതെ വേറെ എവിടെയും നമുക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള പോലെ we cannot go on to use it. നമുക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള പോലെ privately declare ചെയ്ത വേരിയബിളിനെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി publicly use ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. Okay, so what happens is അപ്പൊ accidental user level errors ഒക്കെ നമുക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെയൊക്കെയാണ് minimize ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. Okay, so this is what is meant by your class internals are protected. Okay, class internals means the declaration of your variables, that is member data and your member functions. Okay, any changes in class implementation may be done over time in response to changing requirements without changing the state of data. അതായത് in future if you want to make any changes for your coding also, okay, those changes could be done without changing the actual idea or the concept behind why it is being implemented. Okay, without changing the actual idea or the concept behind why it was implemented, you can go on to make any changes. അതായത് what if I tell you are looking upon to various Windows versions, right? ഇപ്പോൾ Windows 97 ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, then we went on to 2000, then 2003, now you have 2010. Like this you have various versions of Windows, but whatever versions you keep on using, but still you have so many lots of changes coming over there, so many advancements coming over there, but still the usage remains same. Yes or no? The layout, all these things and all, you have so many changes coming up, but still the usages are remaining the same. This is what is meant by any changes in class implementation may be done over time in response to changing requirements without changing the state of the data. അതായത് വിൻഡോസ് 97 ശരി, now in 2010 ആണെങ്കിലും ശരി, B എന്നുള്ള icon if you click, what is it? It is for bold. I is for italics. So whatever be the state, over the course of time, still the implementation is going to be the same without changing the requirements. Without changing the requirements, it is still the same. Is it clear? Next is data encapsulation. Data encapsulation means binds together the data and functions, keep safe from outside world. That is, the data and the functions are kept safe inside without getting affected by the outside world. So implements data hiding. That is, here only you're going to exactly make use of your various access specifiers. Though abstraction lu varuanengil polum, but through encapsulation only mainly you will be using it. Okay. So here, how that encapsulation is implemented. Public, private, protected. Default is always private. Default. Access specifiers, if you don't give that keyword means, what happens is those particular member datas or your member functions will be treated only as private. Okay. For public and protected, compulsorily you have to write those keywords. Public and protected, you have to write those keywords compulsorily. Okay. Next, private members are members not visible to outside class. They are visible only to that particular class alone. So I told you member functions are accessible to all parts of the program. That is similar to your global variable declaration. Similar to your global variable or your function in a global manner, you're declaring it. Protected means visible to its derived class but not outside the class. Visible to the derived class but not. Appa, I told you generations, inheritance. From your parents, you have obtained some quality. But those qualities exactly you cannot see it too. You cannot be, it cannot be seen in some other person, right? General characteristics is different. What are the qualities that you have inherited from your parents will be remain only with you, not by any other outside person. That is what is meant by your protected. Okay. So modularity. Modularity. Before I could go into modularity, I'll finish off inheritance and then polymorphism. That is modularity. I'll tell you later. Okay. Inheritance. Inheritance, I told you. That is from one generation to the next generation we are moving, right? So similarly, here, even when we are taking any object, for that object also we can inherit some properties. For those objects also we can inherit some properties. So supports hierarchical classification and reusability. Exactly all these I'll tell you. Complexity is reduced. Size of coding is reduced. A class created and debugged can be distributed to other programs using reusability. And the functions, why did we learn? Why did we learn functions, the concept of functions? The same code can be used where and whenever it is required. Yes or no? The same code can be used wherever and whenever it is required. So similar way here also you have something called as your base class, that is the original class, the origin. From that origin we can go on for a distribution. We will move on to the subclass. Okay. Like that you can go on to split up, split up, split up. What happens is whatever things that are present in your base class is also available in your subclass also. Whatever contents or characteristics that are available in your base class is available in your subclasses also. Complexity is reduced. അതായത് ഒരു program എഴുതുമ്പോൾ when we were using the concept of function, so many different places we have to write the same set of statements means what? It is going to be a huge program. It will become a complex program. അപ്പോ ഒറിജിനിൽ എന്തൊക്കെയാ ഉള്ളത് വെച്ചാൽ that particular part will be written with the origin. Wherever and whenever